Leland Live on the road as we are still hanging out here. Today's our first day out in Cheyenne, Wyoming, one of our popular stops from the last time we did one of these summer road show tours, and so the audience talked a lot about this. We had some cool characters, and we're spending 2 days here, and tomorrow we'll move to a different portion of the venue. Today I'm just up in the arena showing you beauty shots. We get this one shot of the horses hanging out there. Those are the bucking horses that'll be throwing these people all over the place here in just a little while. I noticed we were having some activity down there on, let me just give you this shot real quick. And it's behind me, so I can't see it. I'll see the camera. But we had some people running their horses through here to get them some stretching their legs. From time to time, the intensity and the connection between rider and horse, from time to time, it's so amazing to me how they just know, even though it's a hot afternoon, this horse wants to run. So they'll just come in here and run the arena a little bit and do those things, and I think it's just kind of neat. So a lot of the preps, a lot of the stuff going on, Frontier Days is what they call all these events that are centered around this arena that we're in, and all that gets going in earnest tomorrow morning with a parade. And then, of course, I think they got a parade on Saturday. Like we've talked about over and over, they've got big concerts at night, the competitions here in the arena during the day. Big, huge, massive arena. Thousands of people will be in here celebrating their thing, their way of life, their culture, this tradition that of being in the cattle industry that turned into a sport like we do everything in America. Look, this is why we hate soccer, because we got cooler stuff like this. As you see them continuing to work on the surface of the arena, because it's important that they get that right for the next several days. And it's so detailed, it's very scientific, the density of it, the moisture of it, the thickness of it. They just keep it maintained for the entire 10 days of all this stuff. And so we're excited to be here, just about to wrap things up here in a minute. Let me talk about Alabama Gold Refinery real quick. AGR, Alabama Gold, refinery.com. That's Steve, really, and his team over there. If you want to buy, sell, or trade, or get involved in the gold business in any way, this is a wonderful resource. They just absolutely are honest, fair, and upfront with their prices. Everything they do is just straightforward. They even list the commodities every day on their website if you want to track it. But from time to time, you're going to take a little bit of extra cash, maybe squirrel it away in something that has permanent value, or oppositely, maybe you have gold, you're a collector, you've got scrap, but you could use the cash with summer travel and vacation expenses and all that stuff. Do it the smart way. Don't put that stuff on a credit card. Unload that old stuff you don't need. Steve will give you fair price. They buy, they sell, they trade, all the stuff, gold, silver, platinum. It is, of course, Alabama Gold Refinery, AGR, alabamagoldrefinery.com in Homewood, Alabama, right across from that big Regions Bank. AJ, I'm managing the camera and talking at the same time. Look at me. I feel so coordinated. We're watching the big blue tractor go around and around, taking care of business. Man, I just had to declare myself LGBT for just a minute because I had to go in the women's room. Really, there's nobody up here, but I had to take a little break during the last break. And I don't know where the men's room is, but the women's room's right outside the door of this platform where I am. So I thought, who's going to know? And this guy walked by when I walked out. I was ready. I had my speech ready. I was like, listen, mister. But, yeah, thank you to the T part of the LGBTQ community, because every now and then when a brother's in a hurry, you can pull the T card out and use the women's room. Not that I support that. I was just kind of making a joke. But, no, I really did go in there. It's completely abandoned. Don't worry about it. Let's see what else we can get into. Now, back over to the Trump speech tonight. That's kind of the big deal today. So much speculation. We'll play that Caroline Leavitt soundbite for you one more time, too, as she was explaining things a little bit earlier during the daily presidential briefing. So they're saying words like the public's going to be shocked, that we're going to see things we've never seen. It'll be conclusive proof. Well, I don't know what it is, because we've seen a lot, and it's one of those eye of the beholder things over the years. If you are for Trump, you understand all those anomalies could not have happened the way they happened. If you're against him, you wouldn't believe it. If Jesus himself came down, you probably wouldn't believe him either. So I don't know if it's going to be convincing. I know that the usual suspects are doing what they do. For example, ABC has joined NBC to say they will not carry the speech over their primetime airwaves. So think about the prospects of what we're dealing with right here. You have a president of the United States and an address to the nation. It used to be that was sacrosanct. Presidents had that at their disposal as a bully pulpit, no matter what the issue. And generally, it was war. Sometimes it was bad economic conditions, the bank bailout if you're Bush, 9/11 if you're Bush, all of these things. Osama bin Laden killing if you're Obama, whatever. The whole country stands by because the president's coming out to talk to us. And so not only these networks have diminished using some kind of fake editorial discretion to decide, well, we don't care if he's the president. We don't want to hear it. We're not going to carry it. We're going to carry another, I don't even know what the hell is on ABC or NBC at night. And neither do most Americans, because they're dumping not only their news product, but their primetime offerings are just silly pablum. So let them do it. Some people are, I'm seeing internet reaction to these major networks choosing not to participate in the coverage tonight. Let their ignorant viewers, anybody that's still loyal to these completely unprofessional networks, let them keep watching. Let them keep being ignorant. Let them stay in their zone. These people have become irrelevant, both their viewers and the network. Anybody that's foolish enough to stay loyal to a network that would carry the damn view every day but ignore the president who says he has something to say to the country. So ignore them, because that's what the rest of the country, market economics are going to solve that problem for us. And it's happening in a very, very quick way in a lot of different disciplines where, again, it's not just internet competition. It's a combination of things. It's new technology that give people access to information 24/7, whether they choose to cover it or not. And then, of course, it's their duplicity that people have become distrustful of. And so let them make an editorial decision consciously, like they're doing right now, to ignore the President of the United States over an issue they deem is not worthy. Tomorrow is a national outbreak of amnesia among these people, ignoring everything that will happen tonight, whatever's going down, and moving on to the next subject. I don't know what the theme will be, but they'll manufacture something between now and tomorrow that they decided is more newsworthy. It's worth our judgment. I don't know what their obsession is lately, but it'll be ICE shooting people or something like that. Whatever. It's not worth these. They're dead and they don't even know it. They're Joe Biden right now. They're the Walking Dead. They're friggin' Mitch McConnell right now. It's the same comatose status journalistically for these people in these networks. The only network that's even trying is CBS. Has at least got Barry Weiss knocking heads and scaring some of the old fossils that are still hanging around those networks. And who's watch on primetime TV anyway? Anyway, so there's that. All the other major news networks will carry it. The internet will have it everywhere. You won't be able to avoid it. And just to show you, we're serious about it. We'll have the whole thing live tonight over our FM broadcast antenna, over the old school FM radio, which is where still vast majority of our audience consumes the show, and over our streaming platforms, which is probably why I'll be paying attention to it, because I'll still be over here dodging tractors and bulldogs and packing up equipment here in just a little bit as we are live in the arena while the tractors do their thing to take care of this riding surface right here in very warm, direct sunlight of Cheyenne, Wyoming, at the daddy of them all, the Big Frontier Days Rodeo in Cheyenne. All right, quick, we'll do this break. We'll get back in here. Y'all bring it, 545-9950 if you want to be on the radio. Work Trucks bringing you the show tonight to TRUX. Well, that's loud. Can you hear me, AJ?
Yep,
Work
I can
Trucks, Work Trucks LLC. I'm going to get up on the mic a little bit. TRUX, Work Trucks LLC. If you wanted to haul your tractor around, if you wanted to do anything in business, or you're going to need a truck, you're going to need a good solid truck, and they've got them commercial-based. When I say commercial-based, you know, when you're dealing with a business truck, you don't need all the frills, you don't need sparkly paint and all the extra things that we love to put on our personal trucks nowadays. It used to be that's all trucks were used for, and then they became luxurious. Work Trucks has these good old base white strip down. I think even some of them you got to roll the window down by hand with, but that's fine. That's a business truck. It gets you up and down the road and get stuff done for your business. Look, you got to focus on revenue. You need to be spending your time getting the money in, and let Work Trucks help you not keep too much going out by selling you a pre-owned vehicle, one that is generally off lease, low miles, taken good care of, but they also save you time because they're going to do the vetting for you. Not only do they go procure these things and get them to the market They've already vetted them 125 points. You're not going to waste time on that. They've got finance companies ready to help you finance. You don't have to waste too much time on that. They'll just turnkey get it done for you, plug that truck into your fleet, or start your own business if that's what you're up to, and let Work Trucks take care of it. TRUX, they're downtown Birmingham, 3rd Avenue South. If you want to go see them yourself, go look at that lot. It looks like a new truck lot, but these are pre-owned, and this is the finest place to get them. Work Trucks. Again, box trucks, flatbeds, vans, all kind of vans, pickup trucks, plain or straight, outfitted or not, they're down there at Work Trucks, TRUX, WorkTrucksLLC.com. Back here to Cheyenne with Leland Live on the road. Axiom Tax Resolution Group bringing you the show tonight, 205tax.com, 205tax.com. Y'all, this is Perry Cronin and this incredible operation he's put together to keep the government off your back. They actually have, the government has programs to help you settle for less than you owe. You've heard my talk about Perry Cronin and Axiom. They've got programs to help you not only that, but negotiate a payback plan, get that deficit and that debt amount reduced, and get them off your back. They're not allowed to do some of the things that they sort of get away with because intimidation is the game. If you don't know any better, they'll tell you a bunch of stuff and you're just intimidated and you'll go along with it, and the next thing you know, you could have done better to get this stuff squared away. Perry set up Axiom just to handle this stuff, just to deal with the IRS, and he knows who to talk to, how to talk to them, what's reasonable to offer, what they'll generally accept. And so he can analyze your situation, go to work for you, become your representative, and you got a lot better shot of getting this stuff done, especially than trying to do it on your own. I mean, it's just almost impossible. The government will run you, they'll run clean through you like lettuce from Taco Bell. It is Axiom Tax Resolution Group, 205tax.com, 205tax.com. Man, I saw some activity down there in the horse pens, AJ, so I zoomed in over there. I thought they were about to move them into the arena, so we were just keeping an eye on that. Just to reset, live here at the Cheyenne Rodeo, just kind of hanging out. It's actually, despite the tractor noise and the music, pretty chill this afternoon. It's quiet. All these folks behind the they're just doing what they do in anticipation of everything kicking off tomorrow. So it should be pretty festive. We'll do the show here one more time from Cheyenne tomorrow and get to introduce you to a lot of characters. We've had some nice people to drop by up here. I'm kind of all by my lonesome in this stadium. It's really kind of nice to have the whole media area to myself. As you see some of the, I don't know why that guy's riding around on that buggy. You think he's just doing it for fun? I just like, at first I was like, are they? Oh, there go the bulls. You see them, AJ?
Right there.
There they go. Let's see if I can track them. Let's just have fun here for a minute before we have to get to the break. I bet they're about to run them out here. So they, as many of you know anything about this stuff, they will have these chutes that they put together, and they can channel these animals. Yeah, it looks like they're turning toward the arena. To the left is where I am. So I think those guys are about to come out onto the floor for some reason, and they're also moving some horses. They do have to, this whole operation, the logistics are stunning. I was very impressed with the Cowboys when we were coming in here. Even though I'm with a representative of the rodeo, helping me get my logistics and move all this gear into the stadium, boy, they came up to us in a very aggressive and commanding way on those horses to keep us still. And what they'll do is block off traffic lanes, and you never know what's coming through. In our case, it was little baby calves that were coming through, and then they ran them in here and ran them out into the arena. I do know that I remember this from being here before, there's a little bit of an orientation to the arena for some of these animals. Now, some of these bulls will have been here before, and not I don't know how long a bull's memory goes, but they will be familiar with a big space like this. But a lot of these bulls, for example, and those are the bucking horses, those guys have not been in a space. Some of them are young and have not been in a space this large. So to orient them, and I remember a little bit of this, again, when we were here 3 years ago, they'll run them out here into the arena and just they'll actually run them through here, and they get oriented with the space. So when they are called on to perform later in the week and beginning tomorrow, they will have at least been inside here, not with the crowds, not with all that noise. And as you can hear in the background, these big giant New Holland tractors are grooming the space again. They spend a lot of time preparing that surface because it has a function. A lot of these guys are going to fall on that dirt. It's got to have the impact ability. There's some of these events where the horses, I forget what it's called, but the horses sort of hit the brakes and you're trying to skid the horse to a stop. So a horse could really get injured if that surface is not in really good shape. So much goes into the prep work at all these things, and it's really impressive, especially if you're me, coming from a completely outside world to all this stuff, to see all the thought and planning and logistics that goes into it. So yeah, a little bit of a look at the animal pen this afternoon. Hey, I'm just going to goof off for a minute. We'll look around. So here's that grooming operation that you can see. Is they will prep that surface, and in my experience has been here in the lead up to the big event, in a minute they may have some practice runs. I noticed the announcement guy is taking his place in the booth over here, so we might get a little bit of action here on the arena floor, some of the preliminary stuff that goes on the day before. And it looked like that's how the arena looks when they actually do the rodeo. They smooth it and then they sort of rough it up like that. Let me see if I can control this camera a little bit better and get a better shot of what that tractor is doing. So yeah, they've almost completed doing a circle, and I'll just keep an eye on that too while we're taking your phone calls and talking about the headlines this afternoon here in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Such a large facility, and if you ever come here, so much to do. I will say this as a guest: if you ever come here as a guest, of course, I'm here on sort of media credentials covering the event. But if you come here just as a spectator to sit in the stands and watch it, just prepare to give yourself plenty of time to move in. The way they move a lot of the people over to this area is in a park and ride system, and it is the parking place is, I don't even know that it's really walkable. It's a lot of these big fields that are out from this part of Wyoming, this part of Cheyenne, and then they'll pick you up on these buses and they run a circuit. But it does get crowded, and there are lines, especially when you leave the rodeo. The lines will back up, and you're going to be standing there in the sun for a few minutes trying to get those shuttle systems. But that's just how they do it, and the locals are aware of how all that stuff works, and so they anticipate it. There's just not a lot of dense areas for parking around here because they have taken up almost every bit of the space around this arena with event stuff. In other words, the big parking lot that's just outside that grandstand that you can see on the other side, that's full of carnival rides, and there's a gigantic Ferris wheel out there and all of those things that people enjoy as well, the kids. A lot of super unhealthy food and fun stuff. The fun food is on the other side. Souvenirs, gifts, gigantic tents, huge sponsors taking care of things out here too. So, man, if you do come here, just have time to get in and out because it is a busy place during rodeo week. Let me see where we are right now. Crocker Moving Services, they're next up here on the list. Eric Crocker and the whole team. Eric's a great guy. He's a Marine. I tell you that all the time. I always want to salute his service. But I do think, uniquely, his Marine Corps experience makes him a wonderful person to own a moving company. There are a lot of tributes and traits you got to have if you lead men in a military operation. It's the same thing. These are strong guys. These are young guys that help come move all this furniture. And you've got to be an inspiration to them. It's hard work. You're going to keep good employees. You got to be willing to get on those trucks too, and that's what Eric does. He'll get on the truck, man. He wants it done right. He believes in slowing down, taking your time. Everybody understands. I watched him do this when he moved a safe into my home. We would stop at every turn. I say we like I was lifting anything, but I was there with him trying to help as much as I could. Moral support, you understand. We had this 1,000-pound dead weight object. But what he would do is he'd get right up to the next turn and they'd stop, and each of them would talk about what's happening next, which way they were going to move. He'd ask each one of them if they understood, and then everybody would say yes, sir, and then they'd make the move, and then they'd stop and calculate the next move. That's how you do it efficiently. That's how you do it safely when you're moving people's precious things. That's a trick of the trade. It's just good leadership in addition to all the tools they use to get your stuff moved. They've got a 2-hour minimum rate, and I love that because sometimes you just don't need a whole mover. It's CrockerMovingServices.com, CrockerMovingServices.com. Leland live on the road, Cheyenne, Wyoming. Back here in just a minute. Y'all stay tuned. Y'all, here we are live in Cheyenne, Wyoming, doing our continuing coverage out here at the rodeo, watching the big blue tractors go run. I'm jealous right now of the tractors because I sort of miss my tractor. I can't wait to get home. I had some projects going, and I bet all that stuff's, all the work I did is probably overgrown by now with all the rain. Y'all, let's get on over to see our buddy Thomas. We check in with Thomas at Stockton Mortgage this time almost every single day, unless Thomas is busy helping somebody make the dreams come true. Thomas, what's shaking in y'all's world tonight?
Man, it is not raining here. It is blue skies and
nice
sunshine today out here. So, yeah, man, I hear you talking about your projects. I had tons of projects doing around my house. I know you live out kind of by me, and, man, I was outside all day in that beautiful weather this past weekend. About to kill me. I'm not built for that anymore. But, hey, what I am built for is helping families and getting new homes. And, man, we had a fantastic day today, getting people pre-qualified to buy new homes. And had a local customer contact us, a local listener, one of your listeners contacted us about looking to buy a new home. And there's a local police officer that was Homes for Heroes. You know, we've talked about that organization where a portion of our proceeds when we close, we give back to them at closing. We give a credit back to them for closing costs for any military, police, medical personnel, and teachers qualify for that program where we help give back for some closing costs. And police officer heard us talking about that, gave us a call. We got them pre-qualified. Man, we love helping our service people. And so if you're a service member out there and you're looking to buy a new home, give us a call. We have programs available for first-time home buyers and service personnel. 205-859-8859 or savewithstockton.com.
Savewithstockton.com. I appreciate that good word tonight, Thomas.
Sure.
We will check in with you tomorrow, man.
Yes, sir. All right, bye-bye.
All right, there's Thomas over at Stockton Mortgage doing his thing. Yeah, I get tractor envy sometimes because it is therapeutic for me, but I seriously have some major projects to do. Hey, Jed, I tell you about me busting my window out of the tractor before I left.
Oh, yes.
Man, okay, so I go step up and get a cab tractor, mainly because of my brother, because he got one and he made me, I do a lot of work in the woods where you run into bees and bugs, and there are days when I don't get to do stuff, especially in the wooded areas because of the weather. So I thought I'd get a lot more done, plus it's kind of bougie, and I always wanted to, AJ, I can listen to the radio station. I got a little radio in there. So I finally stepped up and traded up and did a cab tractor. I've used it quite a bit this summer, but in getting ready to leave the house, you know, one of the things, especially if you're going to be gone this long, last thing you're going to do is you do a little grass cut and knock it all down one more time before it has to sit there for 6 weeks. And I guess I slung a rock because I was cutting grass. It was down at the barn near the tractor, and I was just zooming around, had my noise canceling work headphones on, listening to my jams. And I get off the lawnmower, and there's glass all behind the tractor where I busted that window out. So I can't really use it. I tucked it into the barn and just keep it out of the rain until I get back. But so I ordered one. I just got to tell this long story. I ordered a glass piece. It looks pretty straightforward to put it in. And that's why I keep teasing about my friend Craig Westbrook over at Birmingham Broker. I reached out to the company that ships it, and it was logistical kind of crazy. When they need these particular pieces are kind of hard to get, and if you find one online, you better get it for owners. So when I tracked one down, I ordered it, but it had to come freight. Are y'all following what I'm saying right now? And freight doesn't usually drop at a residential address, so I was thinking to myself, who's got an address near there? Boom, Craig Westbrook. I knew, one, he's a nice guy, and they do deliveries all day. Well, sure enough, he just texted me at the earlier part of the show. They got my piece of glass, AJ. You want to come over and help me install a piece of glass?
Sure.
I'm sure you were excited about it, because I think it's a two-man job for sure. I think it's going to be, you know, somebody's got to hold, somebody's got to put the bolts on it and get the thing on there. But I've gone to YouTube University, and it looks pretty straightforward to get this thing done. I'm cheap like that. And if I break it, my pride won't let me give up. I'll order another one. I mean, heck, I already broke this one. I wonder why they – anyway, so tip to the wise. I've already given this little speech before. If y'all do have cab tractor. Be careful. I mean, I wouldn't have thought twice about that. I'm careful around the cars and the house because I'll, every now and then I got a lot of gravel, so I'll sling a rock. So I try to be very intentional about which way I'm doing that stuff. But I wasn't even thinking about the tractor, man. And so $500 later, I got a project as soon as I get home. But first I got to go down to Birmingham Broker and get my package from Craig. He's just a good dude. He just really is. And I wanted to thank him publicly on the air. Another good dude is our friend Greg Nelson over at Storm Restoration Roofing. Greg is just a solid American, and he loves what he does. Anybody that just stays in a business, becoming better and better like he does, I mean, that's what built the country. Got stuff about this country was built on bull. Shut up. This country was built on hardworking people, generally small business people that took a chance on themselves. Tell that to your kids and grandkids. It was brave, rugged individuals that decided, you know what, I'm going to work for me, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it well, and I'm going to compete. And that's what built the country. That's the essence of what built all of our economy and everything that works. That's why these losers out there now are trying to take from us because they're too lazy to work. They just want to steal it. I'm talking to Mondami and all those a-holes. So let's go back to Greg Nelson. Greg Nelson, for generations now, he's brought along a whole new generation. 10 kids in his family. They're all kind of grown up. They're working with dad. They want to keep the family business going. They want to continue to serve people. That says a lot about him and his family, which says a lot about his company, which tells you and me that's who you want on your roof. When you got a roof project, whether if it's an emergency, don't panic. Even when Greg gets overwhelmed trying to get these projects done, because his company's weather sensitive, I mean, they got to wait on it to dry out so they can get these projects done. So even when they're in that zone, they'll get over there and get a tarp on it. You've got time to file with your insurance companies. He understands all this stuff. You've got a period of time to get that claim in. He can dry you out, document everything you need, and then when you're ready and the insurance company's ready and he can schedule it, get that roof done in a methodical, proper way so that the warranties are intact, the insurance company's happy with the claim, will honor the claim. You go messing around with some of these people that just show up saying they're hungry for work, you don't know what you're going to get. You may get some honest work, but I'd be dubious. I'd go to Greg Nelson, Storm Restoration Roofing. He works on a phone number, and I tell you this all the time. People reach out to me in the off hours quite a bit, especially through social media, and say, who's that air conditioner guy? Who's your guy that does roofs? And I'm not always on there, and a lot of times I try to avoid it on the weekends, so it may be a delay in me getting that information to you, and I hate that, but it's just the way it is. The best thing to do is take these numbers of especially home services companies and put this in your phone or wherever you keep up with stuff. It is Storm Restoration Roofing. Here's that number, 205-542-3531, 205-542-3531, Storm Restoration Roofing. Live again here in just a minute from Cheyenne, Wyoming, and the daddy of them all, the big Frontier Days Rodeo. Leland Live on the road. Y'all stay tuned. Yeah, we got to get on up out of here in just a minute. I got to go on home to my little home on the road. Home in about a week or so. We got a lot of fun shows. Somebody reached out and said, when are you going to the steakhouse in Amarillo? I think that's Wednesday. I got to go back and double check our mileage and how far we can get when, but I think we've worked that out for Wednesday. That should be a fun one, especially for y'all to watch when we get over to Amarillo, Texas, on our way back to Sweet Home, Alabama. Danny Knowles, who also used to live out in Texas. Danny, like one of my sons, moved out to the Dallas area for years as he was honing his skills and learning his craft in the world of financial services. But years ago, he and Sherry, I grew up with both of those, both he and his wife Sherry, and just wonderful people our whole lives, both of them. More Sherry than Danny, but still. But those guys, man, they decided, let's move back home to Alabama and let's start our own thing. He had worked at the highest levels of some of the biggest firms in this country, firms you would know. But he took that and he's doing it his way. And that is with the kind of approach that the people that raised us would want him to have. Taking care of people, no matter how much they have or don't have, or how sophisticated they are with the world of finance or not, and just giving them real, straightforward advice. Not a cheerleader speech just to get the business. They don't do that stuff. They're motivated by the right things. And I've known Danny his whole life, and I can tell you, even when he was just a class smartass, he was always direct. And I always liked that about him. Danny would just say it sometimes. And that's what you want in your financial advice. You want him to tell you exactly where you need to be and how you're going to get there with no nonsense. And he'll do that for you. He and his team, which are three of his sons, man, those are such fine young men, there to advise you as well. You can hear them on their own radio show that they actually produce over there at their office and run here on our station on the weekends. On Saturday and Sunday, it's called Understanding Money. It is Danny Knowles and the Knowles Group, N-O-L-E-S, the KnowlesGroup.com. And those tractors are fired up. Is it super loud, AJ, or is it just kind of a drone in the background?
It's kind of like drone in the background. It's almost kind of like, if you have like your air conditioning on. Yeah, that's what it kind of sounds like. Like
a super loud generator or something.
Yeah.
But I love watching them work. And I will move the cameras around and show y'all. There's the horses riding through. They use that back stretch back there to stretch their legs, and they're spending a lot of time prepping this track. Maybe that's the final prep for today before they kick things off tomorrow, or maybe they got stuff coming up. The horses seem to have multiplied. Suddenly there are more of them in the pens. I saw an office door where some guy was called the Trail Boss, and they got all these titles, and they all know what it means in the world of radio, and I find it a learning experience every time I do it. All I can do is put on my big fat belt and my cowboy hat and hang out here with them and watch what they do and tell you all about it. I really do enjoy the time out here and encourage folks to come see them at the rodeo. We had a guest on earlier, if you were able to catch earlier in the show, that talked to us about this new American Indian village that they built in the back. It's a performance center for traditional American Indian dance and spoken word, and it's probably the finest and largest one in the country. It's a fascinating project of how they raised the funds and dedicated it to the American Indian community. And if you think about it, it's always out here been cowboys and Indians, and it at times obviously it was adversarial, but a lot of times it was symbiotic. The two cultures learned to get along and live side by side in a lot of ways out here, and that tradition is carried on here in Cheyenne. Good Lord, Cheyenne is named after the Cheyenne Indian tribe, so a lot of the honor of those American Indian cultures and the names out here, even around Alabama, the names of our rivers, the names of communities come from the original names, and as a tribute to some of those tribes that were all part of the state of Utah. The Ute tribes were out there. You could trace this history forever. But so if Native American folklore is your thing, they've got you covered on that too during this event. And tomorrow, just a little heads up, tomorrow we're heading over to that side of the arena. It should be slightly quieter, but still boisterous over there. This place will be roaring. We couldn't possibly do the show from up here in this observation platform because you've got a huge crowd, PA announcements going on, music being played, a lot of stuff, just too chaotic. So we're going to move to the opposite side over there and show you the Cowboy Museum the Indian Pavilion, and probably talk to a lot more folks that are involved at the pageantry that is the American Rodeo. It's been fun. This whole trip out west, just meeting people and hanging out with people in this culture has been super fun, super nice. Let me talk about Michelson Laser Vision, then I got to get you an update on the Iran war as well. Things are happening right now. First up, Dr. Mark, Dr. Jennifer, the finest eye doctors anywhere, the legendary practice. Dr. Mark had the courage to invest in the first laser in Alabama way back in the late 1980s. It was brand new technology. It had so much promise. It was super expensive. And I'm sure I asked him, I said, were people afraid of it? He goes, man, they were lined up out the door. If you think about it, those glasses back then were just fat and heavy, and I can imagine even more than that how people would want to get out of those glasses. Well, for years I had friends that had gone to Dr. Mark, huge fans of Dr. Mark and his practice, but you couldn't talk me into it. You could not put a gun to my head and make me go. I just was not interested. But I went and did a visit because they wanted to come on the show and I needed to get to know them better. And that's when I went, wait a minute, let's talk about me for a minute. He was showing me the practice. I said, what do you think? And he said, well, first we have to look at you. And it was when he told me I would be an easy fix. And I had gone through I wanted to go through their whole program that they used to teach their patients. It would help me understand it. So they put me in a little room and I watched this video and did the whole training. That's when I understood it. It made sense to me. I did my due diligence. I was educating myself, and you make better decisions when you're not presumptive. It took me a minute to learn that in life. So look, go do that. Go get the exam, get the education, then make your decision. Don't decide you're not doing it like I did and waste 10 years of your life. Just go and do it and then decide. It may not be right for you. You may still be squeamish. You may decide for whatever reason, or they may decide medically you just can't do it. But if they do, you will be happy to be like me and be 2015. When you go out in the world and do little adventures like this and hang out in cool places like this, this will be where you want to be. It's MichelsonLaserVision.com, MichelsonLaserVision.com. All right, one more thing. Apparently, we're going boom, boom in Iran again, and this time the twist in the story is we're hitting infrastructure. We're hitting bridges and power supply plants, some of this that feeds their military supply chain. There's a report that we've hit a railroad bridge near a major airport in Iran. Again, supply chain, a lot of the freight that they're able to bring in. We hit a bridge that connected Iran by land to Russia and China, part of the being on that same big old continent. And so now it looks like if they're able to get around, we're talking a lot about the Strait of Hormuz and their shipping ability in and out of their ports where they produce their oil. But a lot of the stuff they're bringing in surreptitiously is coming through the air, it's coming on rail, and it looks like that's what we're going after. I don't know that this is civilian targeted by necessity. The civilian setbacks are going to be collateral damage. There's just no way around it. It's a shooting war. But the Iranians chose this. They chose to receive more violence. Like we flipped a coin to decide who's going to kick and who's going to receive. They're receiving again. Good on the DOD. I hope they complete as many rounds as they can. I don't care how long we shoot or who comes to the table or what deal is made. I'll never trust it. This regime needs to be removed. I hope those people can get empowered to rise up. I hope their neighbors can get involved in helping just get this regime off the planet so that peace has a shot, that region has a shot at peace. So more bombing tonight. I think it's the 5th consecutive night. CENTCOM giving confirmation of that just a little while ago as we watch that and anticipate that the president will be speaking tonight, particularly on the election matter and whatever they're revealing this evening. Now, I hope he keeps focus. I hope he doesn't get squirreled into talking about the Iran war, as important as it is, unless it's a structured part of that speech. And I don't think this is a Q&A thing. This is an address to the nation. And by the way, ABC and NBC have decided to censor it. They're just not going to put it on because that's who they are. It says more about them than it does about Trump. Screw them. Let's all wait on the speech. We'll carry it live tonight. I believe the start time, I hope I'm not misinforming, but I think it's 8 o'clock our time. I keep seeing that it's 9 o'clock Eastern. All right, that's probably going to wrap us up here from the arena here in Cheyenne, as we will get all packed up and move aside and be back here tomorrow with some more fun from the road. Distinctive Pools, last sponsor of the show tonight. Gary Levesque and his company. I always talk about our military sponsors. That's Gary too. Gary's a fine individual and a character on top of that. This is who you want doing your pool projects. It's Gary Levesque and the wonderful team he's got. Man, I bet they have 150 years experience. So build it right, build it with the right design, and tie it all in with the right stonework and hardscape work. It's distinctivepools.com. Just look at the beauty that is on their website. You'll see what I mean. Distinctivepools.com if you're going to do a pool project this summer. Live from the road in Cheyenne, Wyoming at Frontier Days. We will see y'all again tomorrow afternoon. Meantime, stay tuned for Breaking Bread and stay tuned for the presidential speech. I'm sure that'll be front and center tomorrow. See y'all later.
All right, have fun at the rodeo, Leland, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow. Breaking Bread coming up next. Goodbye, AJ.